Welcome, everybody, to another episode of our weird podcast. Today will be part 2 of Elizabeth Bathory, the Bloody Countess.
This is going to be the good one. This is where it gets all bloody and chunky.
Ooh.
Oh. You think when she takes those blood baths, I think she uses bath bombs? Like, what would she use for a bath bomb? You think she, rips out a fucking eyeball and throws it in there?
I have no idea, but okay. That's how we start the episode.
How we're starting it.
Alright, good to know. To be fair, some of this stuff is kind of graphic, so viewers be warned.
The upside to that, though, or I guess, I don't know if it's an upside, it's kind of a downside, is these kills aren't cataloged by person, so we're not going to be going into, this person was killed, and then this, it's just kind of how she killed, that's all we really know.
Oh, okay.
It's not going to be a serial killer file type episode. But before we even get into the episode, we should probably do a little, what are we going to call it, an edit? There's two things that I kind of came across when I was doing the research for this episode that we kind of didn't quite dive into properly last episode. So I guess we'll just jump into that first.
Alright, sounds good.
Okay, so I guess thing number one, it was about her husband. So last episode I said that I thought her husband was involved in her little bloody escapades, and turns out from what I could find, it's not so much that he was involved in it, it's just that he kind of turned the other cheek to it.
Yeah.
He thought it was either because she was fucking bored, or just those crazy Bathory genes. So he would come home and he'd see her, whipping a fucking servant girl to the point where she died and be like, oh man, those crazy genes.
That's weird. Then again, things were weird back then.
It's actually something we will definitely dive into on this and the next episode, is just how fucking weird some of this.
Peasant people were treated very poor, worse than dirt back then, so it kind of doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, just, watching her light toes on fire and be like, oh man. Oh well, what's for dinner?
Damn.
Are you ready for the second one? The second one has a little bit of a fucked up twist to it.
Yeah, second one definitely. If you don't like some of this stuff, kind of be ready. It gets weird and nasty.
So, thing number two.
So I read it, I don't think I want to say it.
I'll take the responsibility.
Okay.
So last episode we mentioned that there might have been family members or a family member that had gotten her or introduced her into the occult and witchcraft, and from my research I found that apparently she had an Aunt Clara. This aunt is credited as the one who got her into occult and witchcraft. I didn't have to include this, but I feel like, you know what?
No, it's good.
Let's get fucked up. So her aunt was yeah, the part you don't want to say.
So I read it and I felt like, oh shit.
So just to give you a glimpse into the time we're talking about her, her aunt was a bit of a nympho, which I guess was a bad thing back then, because she was caught with one of her lovers. I'm assuming she must have been married, and then she was having an affair, or someone was having an affair with her.
Yeah. Because
she was caught with a guy, and the punishment was she had to watch this man burn at the stake, and as she was watching this, the entire garrison ran a fucking train on her.
That's fucked.
And then she was staked.
That's fucked.
Apparently that's common.
What did you read this again?
Oh god. Well, I'll actually, you know what? I will tell you where I read this, because that's
the next part.
Yeah. So I read that in today's main source. The main source for all the information we have today is a book called Countess Elizabeth Bathory, The Life and Legacy of History's Most Prolific Female Serial Killer by Charles River. So that's where,
yeah.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah. Apparently, when you read a book instead of just doing web research, you get a little more. You get a little more.
Oh, yeah, I kind of hope so. I would hope so. You get more information out of books than you do just... Because the internet, a lot of people can misplace information and whatnot.
Don't tell that the Alex Jones crowd.
Oh, shit. You're right. But, yeah, that's where things got a little bit heavy. But it's okay.
I'll just throw it out there now. That's probably the most fucked up thing we're going to... I mean, like I said, the majority of the things that she did aren't chronicled by person, so we can't tell you, like...
Exactly what happened.
Yeah, there's not going to be any, like, she drug her into here and then she slit her throat. Because it's mostly just we know what she did, we just don't know when and who.
Yeah.
So that's going to probably be the most heavy thing.
Okay.
So,
I was kind of worried when I saw that. We're like, yo, this is how we're starting. How's the rest of this going to go?
No, that's probably the heaviest. At least one of the heaviest.
All right.
So we're starting off with a fucking bang.
Sweet.
All right. Well, I guess with that out of the way, we will continue. So, where we last left off... Yeah, that's right. We left off when her husband died. And that was pretty much the catalyst into everything else that's coming next. Like we also said earlier, she was doing this shit from way before he died. Like,
yeah.
I think as early as 1585. But it seems like his death is kind of like the push over the edge. I don't know if it was because she was... Probably not because she was mournful. Probably more because she's like, oh, cool. I got the house to myself.
Yeah, before she had someone to, like, help her sweep away things. Because she had someone important she was married to. But now... She has no one to be accounted for her actions.
It's a fucking party every night now.
Oh, man.
Bachelor life or bachelorette life.
Alright, so let's backtrack a little bit. We touched on Elizabeth's aunts in the beginning as someone said to have introduced Elizabeth into the occult. But there's one more big character that not only seems to be the biggest influence for the occult in Bathory's life, but also one of the main accomplices. Her name was Anna Davolia.
I don't know. I think it's like Darvulia or something.
Davulia.
Yeah.
That sounds cooler. Davulia.
Davulia.
Anna Davulia was a Croatian woman who is said to have been in the service of Elizabeth since 1601. There is some speculation that she may have previously been in the service of the Necessity family before she served Elizabeth.
From what I saw through the book and everything, she's kind of like the main accomplice. She's like the evil witch.
Ooh,
evil witch.
Evil.
I have no idea how old this lady is because I've seen
different accounts.
Yeah, different accounts. There's the book. It really didn't say too much about how old she was, but since she's been in the other family for a while, I assume she's probably like an older, stereotypical witch. Of course, when I was kind of looking around trying to figure out who the fuck she was, so I looked her up, and the only things I got were 2 movies about Elizabeth, and then one thing that was talking about them being lesbian lovers.
That's odd, but okay.
So we're just gonna say I have no idea how old this lady is, but she seems to be like the main source of, I guess, all of the witchcraft claims, and maybe like a big driving force in what she does down the road.
Oh, okay. Now let's also get back to one of her most infamous claims: drinking and bathing in blood. It is said her first encounter with blood in this manner was the time she saw 2 servant girls pretending to string each other's up with a sewing needle. What?
They had some interesting games back then. I don't know. Like I'm gonna stitch you up.
Is that real?
Yeah, I don't know. That straight from the book. I don't know what kind of game that is. They were just like chasing each other around with needles, being like, I don't know.
That's interesting.
I mean, I guess in Elizabeth's murder castle, the only toys you get are needles.
I
don't know how old these girls were either, but like I think we said in the last episode, somewhere between the age of 10 and 14, I think.
Yeah.
So they're still kids.
Yep.
Granted, I'm not too sure how old she is at this point. I think she's probably 4. No, maybe not. Well, actually,
Was there no accounts of her age?
no, there is. I just have to think.
Oh.
I think because this is pretty early on, so she's probably in her 20s.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So yeah, I don't know what kind of game that was.
She eventually took the needle from one of them and began to poke at them with it. She began to bleed, and Elizabeth started to lick the wound.
It's like a fucking
and rub
chupacabra.
the blood on her cheeks.
She's just like.
That's an inch.
She's just like looking at it. She just rubs her like, oh, she feels so good. I don't know.
That's so.
Lady's fucking crazy, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, there's been stranger stories nowadays. There's been stranger things happen, so I guess it's no surprise.
Did you just think of that one story where the girl made her
Oh,
boyfriend
no.
her period blood spaghetti?
That Twilight one. Where she was trying to turn him into a vampire.
Spaghetti tastes kind of weird, dude. What kind of sauce is this? It's a little chunky.
What is a chunky? What the fuck is a chunky?
Just eat it. Eat
it. Moving on from that. Repressed memory. As I'm sure most of you have repressed that, if you know about that. And if you don't...
I hope we just brought that all back for all 5 people who listen to this episode.
I'm so sorry he brought that up for y'all. I was trying to forget that too.
How could you forget that? Actually, I totally forgot that until just now.
See, I wasn't even trying to remember that. I just was thinking about like the bath salts incident and other stuff like that.
Did you know that one from Florida?
Yeah.
I heard something that guy actually wasn't on anything.
Yeah, I heard that too recently.
They gave a toxicology and he just had a fucking break.
Yeah, I guess so. So maybe it was some drugs.
He decided to LARP as a zombie.
Well,
today's the day.
Today's the day. Yeah, snap.
All right, back on track.
As she was rubbing the blood on her cheeks, I'm guessing she must have felt some kind of stimulation because I'm sure you've had your own blood on you and you don't just immediately start to rub it on you and think about like, ooh, use foundation.
This is actually something that we'll touch up on again later in this episode, I think. But the whole thing with blood can kind of be traced to just the way they did medicine at this time. Like we brought up
true.
Last episode that her epilepsy was quote unquote cured by rubbing blood on her. So blood was a big thing. I don't know. Obviously, we'll never know exactly how they thought about blood.
Yeah.
But you can assume, like, if you use blood as medicine, someone like Elizabeth might think, you know, if I fucking drink this blood and rub this blood on me, it's gonna fucking make me healthy. Because, I mean, she's probably still suffering from epilepsy at this point.
Yeah.
And if blood is the cure, you know, we'll bring this up again later. But that's just kind of...
Yeah. One could say she was attracted to blood because of occultism or vampirism.
Things like bloodletting and applying blood to the sick was a common practice. So, like I was saying, I think the vampire shit was added later anyway.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think anyone was thinking... Because, I mean, no one even really knew at this time what she was doing. But, like I said, the whole things with her seizures... Like, she's probably still having her seizures.
Yeah, definitely. Those some actually go away.
No, I really don't think they do. Especially not when they're probably caused by a shitload of inbreeding. So, I feel like she probably thought, because they would rub blood on her as a child, she's like, well, they're not going away. So I need more blood, kind of like Richard Chase. How he thought he didn't have enough fucking blood in his body.
Oh yeah.
So he had to go eating and drinking people. It was probably that kind of thing. She's like, I just need more blood. That's the cure. I keep having these falling episodes.
Yeah.
So I just need to go get more fucking blood. So I'm pretty sure that's why she did what she did.
Yeah.
You can also think maybe later on, she was like, when she started to get old, she's like, I'm getting fucking old. Maybe if I rub blood on my face, it'll be a nice moisturizer. Really bring back the youth. Alright, so let's get into kind of the beginning of the end here. There was one person in particular who I could find who said they made complaints, and I think not just like shouting outside her castle like, hey, shut the fuck up in there. Like, I think in this time, like, if you had a complaint, it meant like you would write out a letter of complaint and send it to the king or whoever works for the king who would take these. I think that's what that's kind of referring to.
Like the homeowners association.
Yeah. Your grass is getting a little too tall there, and I keep hearing the screams of young women. We have a noise policy.
Anytime after 9 p.m.
I would hate for you to have to leave, but we have a strict set of rules.
Oh man.
But it was a Lutheran minister named Istvan.
Calm down there, Pokey.
Oh god. See, I keep shooting myself in the foot here. I don't look up these pronunciations. Istvan Magyari, I think is how you would say that name. I couldn't find much more on him than that. But he's the main, like one of the only high importance, I guess, people who it's been documented that he made a complaint. So this is kind of like where things start to go downhill for Elizabeth. Because I'm assuming it must have also been his complaint that put this whole thing in action.
Yeah.
So with that, we get into 1610. And at this point, King Matthias, or however the fuck you'd say that, the second, assigns Georgi Thurzo, the same man who was entrusted to God, however you say that guy's name, Ferenc or whatever, Elizabeth's husband.
Yeah.
So he assigns him to go into Elizabeth's area. I believe when I was reading this that she, like, the way it works back then is like you own your castle and you actually own, to a sense, the entire like surrounding town. At least here. So like she has her own fucking village.
Yeah.
I think is how that whole thing. So he gets sent over there. He gets with him and two notaries, Andras Teredzuri and fucking Moses. Moses, not that Moses, if he even existed.
That's a whole nother topic, bro. You can't get into that.
So he goes down with those two and to collect statements on, to do the whole HOA thing. And by October, they have 52 witness statements to the goings-on in Elizabeth's castle. And then by next year, they have over 300.
Damn.
That's what they say, at least.
That's a big jump, though.
Yeah. I don't. They must have been like handing out bread.
Probably trying to get confessions out of people.
If you say what we want to hear, we'll give you this nice piece of bread. Look at that. There's not even one speck of mold on it.
Ooh, very tempting.
Better than eating what the fuck are you eating over there?
Oh man. Well, I want to say something, but I know we're going to get into it later on, so I'll bring it up later.
Okay.
According to some testimonies, her first victims were young girls between the ages of 10 and 14. Her victims began as daughters of the lesser gentry, who, from what I from what we gathered, seem to be this era's equivalent of middle class, which I think we talked about that in the last episode.
Yeah, we brought that up a little bit. We were trying to figure out what the fuck that meant, but that's kind of what I guess.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, like not peasants. I don't know. There's a lot of terms in this that I think we're kind of lost, so we don't really quite grasp. Since this is like technically like Slovakia and that kind of area, this isn't the more English side of that area, which I think just growing up we don't really hear about a lot of it. Like I don't know what the fuck a voivode is.
Yeah, true.
So like there's a lot of, I mean, I might just be totally stupid and that's a term that was used all over, but I couldn't find a good explanation of what that was, but I assume it must have been that.
Yeah. These girls were sent to her
I think it's gymnasium. Like
gymnasium.
I think that's like where gym comes from now. I think it's like an old Latin word.
Okay. To learn courtly etiquette. So basically her school for fancy ladies. Okay.
A little home ec class.
It was said her earliest victims were peasant class girls who were sent to her castle for work, but when her victims became these more higher class girls, eyes finally began to fixate on Elizabeth and the ongoings in her castle.
And that's a theme that pretty much is repeated throughout history. The whole idea of the less dead.
Yeah.
That's why you see so many serial killers will start their killer journey killing prostitutes and homeless people. People who, like, if they go missing, the proper authorities aren't going to give a shit. But as soon as, fucking John Benet Ramsey goes missing, it's fucking all hands on deck, even though that case went to shit.
Yeah. Now, the number of stories on how Elizabeth tortured and killed these poor girls are more than plentiful, and it can be very hard to determine what is truth and what is fictionalization. Added after the fact to make a spooky tale even spookier, which is true.
Yeah, so that's kind of that's the point where we can't really tell you like who died and when. I can't find there's no documentation on each girl and how they died. Like as we're going through a more modern serial killer case.
Yeah,
and it's hard to tell exactly which one of her methods were and weren't true. The methods range all over from sticking fucking needles under like the fingernails, like that fucking torture.
Ooh yeah.
I just jamming them up in there.
I've had that happen to me by accident, and it hurts so bad just thinking about it.
Oh, that's not good. She would brand girls and burn them with hot irons, then throw them straight into cold water.
Damn,
that's fucked. There's also bleeding them out into a big porcelain bathtub to take a nice little bath in.
Yeah, get that rejuvenation.
Gotta rejuvenate. Call one of her little servant girls over and rip out a fucking eyeball. Use it as a bath bomb.
Damn. Alright, real quick. So I had to do a bit of digging on the gymnasium word. From what I can find, I kind of had to look at Wikipedia real quick just to check something. Turns out it's missing from there, so they have no idea what it means.
Huh.
So you could be right.
About the gymnasium thing?
Yeah.
So, where the most brutal ones that I could find, other than obviously being bled out, I found one where apparently they would take a girl out to the forest in the middle of the winter, strip her down, tie her to a tree, and then pour buckets of water on her, and then just leave her out there to freeze to death.
Why?
For the fucking pleasure of it, dude. They're all fucking getting off to this shit. Maybe. I don't know. That's not really how female serial killers work.
No, they don't do it for the pleasure like men do.
Yeah, I mean, there was one.
At least I think so.
No, yeah, they normally don't. They normally do it for monetary gain. There's Black Widow is usually what they're referred to as. Almost every male serial killer does it for a sexual reason, because I guess it's the way you grow, sexuality kind of becomes intertwined as you grow as a child. I guess it must work differently for guys and girls, because with guys, they're it's a really gross term, but their budding sexuality gets intertwined with like violence. So they kind of like they can't come unless they do something violent. And women, it doesn't seem to work that way, except for possibly one like Eileen Wuornos was the only one that I know of that was kind of more of like a quote unquote male serial killer in the way she did. So I mean, possibly,
Yeah.
Elizabeth could be one of those too.
Yeah. Okay.
But, yeah. And then the only other one that I found that was really gross and worth mentioning was pretty much turning one of her victims into the Candyman.
Ow.
Like slathering them with honey and then just letting fucking bees and insects just eat them alive.
That is painful.
That is horrible. Like getting stung and bite that and everything.
I've been stung by bees a lot, so I know how that feels. It sucks.
Yeah.
And now comes for the arrest. Giorgio Thurzo arrived at Elizabeth's castle, and it said he caught her in the act. In a letter sent to his wife, Thurzo claims that upon entering the castle, he caught Elizabeth with one girl dead and one girl kept as prey. The details on this are very fuzzy, and that's something we'll also touch on later. But with that, Elizabeth was arrested along with 5 accomplices, along with Dorvolia Dorotia Santesis, Iolo Katerina Benacta, and Jonas Giovio. Holy fuck, these names.
I think this is going to be the last one for a little while that we do with really bad names. The next couple episodes I have in mind are a little more
modern.
Yeah, a little more well, one's not so modern, but I don't think it's going to have quite as many terrible names.
I mean, they're not terrible. They're just hard to pronounce.
Not terrible. I'm terrible. We're terrible for not being able to pronounce these fucking names.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so
all right.
he just kicks down her door. And I guess she must have been doing it right in the fucking doorway, or maybe he like walks through the castle and he like kicks down 8 doors, and then he kicks down the right one where she's fucking.
I find that kind of hard to believe, but okay.
I do too, and
conspiracy times.
Conspiracy, maybe. Who knows?
Maybe.
But yeah, no. He sends a letter to his wife. Maybe he's just puffing himself up to his wife so he can get his dick sucked later.
Maybe.
But yeah, and then they get all carried off.
Now we get to the trial, or what you can call a trial, because I'm pretty sure back then, trials were really bad.
Even for the time, this trial is... You can barely call this a trial, especially for Elizabeth. I'm just going to spoil it right now. Elizabeth doesn't even get a trial.
Really?
No.
Damn.
Yeah, we'll talk about that, but yeah.
All right. Apparently there was some connection between Thurzo and some of Elizabeth's children on what to do with her, and the idea of sending her to a nunnery was brought up. Really, a nunnery?
I love that idea. Like, maybe if we just go send her to a bunch of nuns, she'll stop being a fucking psycho.
I don't think that's not how you heal people or help.
Just end up with a bunch of dead nuns. Maybe, actually.
Or a bunch of nuns that have become psychotic.
There's actually a case about that, I think.
Oh man, no.
Yeah, we might cover that later.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Actually, that's kind of fun. They're a bunch of fucking crazy... they're not like psycho nuns, but yeah. Well, maybe we'll cover that later. Back to the story.
They were pretty much just trying to avoid her being put to death because she's a family.
Yeah, they didn't want her to die.
Yeah.
They didn't want her to die, even though... whatever his name is, Georgie or whatever. We'll call him Georgie. Even Georgie didn't necessarily want her to die. I think it's possibly because they were related, or maybe he got something out of her still being alive. But the king wanted her to die. The king wanted her to have, I think, a public trial and to be put to death. But everyone else didn't want her to die either because they were related or because it would take the Bathory name and just drag it through even more mud than it may have already been. So they thought maybe sending her to a nunnery would turn her into I don't know. But They eventually settled on house arrest.
House arrest.
Yeah, basically house arrest.
Damn.
But the rest of them weren't so lucky.
Oh, I imagine. I can imagine they were not as lucky as her.
No. Just to put in, yeah, we'll just wrap that up. The rest of them weren't so lucky. They were all put to death.
Damn.
Yeah, I think they're all hung. They were either hung up, burned at the stake. I couldn't really figure out which one.
Oh, so no accurate detail.
No, I mean there might have been somewhere, but yeah, the accomplices were all killed. And then Elizabeth, they got a somewhat public trial. But Elizabeth didn't. There was no trial at all. They just said, we're just gonna lock her in a room in the castle.
Yeah.
There's some accounts that said she was able to walk around, but most of them have said that she was confined to one room that had no windows, just like some air slits, and they would like slide food, pretty much in like solitary confinement.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. A letter was sent to King Matthias by Thurzo on January 25th of 1611 to inform him of Elizabeth's imprisonment, and on 1614, Elizabeth signed her will, distributing her estates and possessions amongst her children. In August of that year, she would complain. She complains to what said to be one of her bodyguards that her hands are cold, even though this is August, so it's warm, especially in a warm castle room. And he tells her it's nothing, go lay down, and then the next morning she's found dead. So that is, yeah. It could have been her illness finally catching up with her, or it might be the fact that she was just sitting in a fucking room for, I think, like 3 years. No bathing, no blood bathing. So she just fucking passes away. She passes away at, I believe, the age of 58.
Very suspicious.
A little suspicious. I mean, it could go either way. You could say that maybe she was poisoned in
yeah.
food, which possibly, though everyone involved with her at this point, I think, was already on the side that they didn't want her to die, but then you can also say they didn't want a public execution.
True.
So maybe someone did poison her to get some things moving. Or you could also just say she was fucking 58 in the 16th century.
Yeah.
Which is fucking ancient for that time, I think, for most people.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So she could have just fucking died. Because, she was locked in a room for the last 3 years with probably nothing but, the air coming in through the holes in the wall and the food they slid for her.
Yeah.
So.
Damn.
Alright, okay. And in the end, her victim total is reported to be somewhere in the area of 650.
Damn!
More than likely that number is shared with her and her accomplices, though. Like, it's probably not all her killings, because she had reportedly 5 accomplices. I'm sure that's shared between them. And that number comes from, what I could find, that number comes from a testimony of a servant girl during either the trial of the accomplices, probably. She said she found that number in a private book of Elizabeth. That's a little fishy.
Yeah.
But this whole thing is a little fishy. And with that, the tale of Elizabeth Bathory comes to an end. Except for one thing.
What's that?
That everything we just told you in this episode might just be a complete fucking lie!
Of course.
Nothing but a conspiracy by the entire fucking country. Maybe not the entire country, but the king and Thurzo and the state to fucking lock her up and take all of her shit.
Damn.
Conspiracy to the fucking wall.
That's a... I mean, so much things make sense if you think of it that way, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is exactly where we're going to pick back up on the next episode.
Really? Aw.
Yeah.
I was hoping to cover this episode, too.
No. I haven't done the research yet. I've done the base research to know.
Alright.
That's where we're going. But to really stretch that, I got to get all the juicy details.
Alright, fair enough.
But we can touch on that a little bit right now, because we don't have much. But yeah, no. Next episode, we're going to go balls deep into why. But we've already been laying some breadcrumbs as to why that's basically the case. Like, the shady numbers, the fishy things, like her victim number coming from some book that was never shown, by the way. They never had the book.
Never?
No.
Of course not. You don't need a book.
Just some girl saying, I saw it in a book once.
And that's it.
Yeah. To her not getting a public trial, even if you do consider the fact that they didn't want to ruin the Bathory name anymore, there's still the fact that she did not get any trial at all. They just locked her away.
There's so much wrong.
There is so much wrong. There's a lot wrong. There's a lot that we're going to get into.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, that is that. And as we kind of stated earlier, that episode 1 of Bathory, part 1 of Bathory, was kind of just as much of an unbiased introduction into her as we could. Basically just the facts, telling you kind of who she was and whatever. This episode was just a little bit of an indulgence episode, just kind of playing on the assumption that all of the blood Countess
were facts.
Yeah,
was real.
Just to have a little fun with it. And then next episode is going to be basically the other side of the coin.
Okay.
That
sounds fun.
It's going to be kind of like OJ's book, If I Did It.
Oh man.
If she didn't do it.
Yeah.
Except OJ did do it.
He did do it.
He did do it. Just like Casey fucking Anthony. She did it too.
Oh, fucking hell. That woman.
That fucking... I don't know if we're ever going to cover her, because I'm probably just going to get mad the whole fucking episode. I'm just going to be standing all the way back here, because I'm going to be screaming about how she fucking lied to the police about where she worked.
And everything. And still somehow got away with it.
She fucking got away with it.
Somehow. Some bullshit.
Some fucking straight up bullshit. It's probably a good thing that this is only going to be heard by like 20 people, because I'm pretty sure if this got to her, she'd sue us.
Yeah, I mean, she can try.
She can try. I don't give a fuck, you fucking murderer.
It's not like you're slandering. At least not yet.
No, it's truth.
Yeah.
Stupid bitch. Alright, well, I guess that's going to wrap up this episode.
Alright, man.
Alright.
But it's been an episode. We've been on a ride.
Yeah, it's only going to get better from here. Yep. I have some good shit in mind.
Alright, good.
Well, after we wrap up this one, I think our next episode's going to be a little heavy.
Ooh.
A little heavier than this one.
Ooh.
It might have to do with aliens.
We're fucking dumb.
Well, thank anyone who listened.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, we do appreciate any of it.
We're surprised anyone's listening to this, if at all.
Yeah, no, I've seen a few numbers. We're getting some people listening, maybe only for 3 seconds, but I promise it's gonna get better.
That's how long we last. Oh, you last 2 seconds, but it's okay, Brandon.
3.5.
3.5, he says. Oh, bro.
All right. Well, yeah. Well, please do listen. Please clap.
Please clap.
We are on Spotify and Stitcher and Audible and Google Podcasts, and hopefully more to come. We're fucking covering that map.
Nice.
Yeah. So that would be really cool if you do listen. Give us a rating. That would be really cool. Give us 5 stars, because if you don't give us 5 stars, I will find you.
No,
I will come to your house. I will bake you the driest fucking cake you've ever eaten.
Yeah,
and I will make you eat every fucking bit of it.
He sucks at cooking.
I do.
One time he tried to make tacos, but somehow he wound up fucking making lasagna. I don't know how the fuck he did that.
It wasn't lasagna. It was stroganoff.
The fuck do you make? You were making tacos. You just need to cook the meat, but you made stroganoff. How? How in the absolute fuck did you do that? Neither me nor Ashley know how you did that. She's your girlfriend for like how many years? The fuck?
So take that as a threat.
More of a promise.
Also, we're on Twitter. Yay. So follow us at @HECD_podcast.
Ah.
Don't post a shitload yet, but we'll post when episodes go live and possible episode ideas. And if you want to tell us we suck, that's a great place to go find us.
Yeah, that too. We can use any feedback of any kind.
Yeah, tell us how bad this all is.
Positive, negative, we don't mind. Fuck
Do it. I won't come to your house.
It won't come.
I won't come. I'm Aleister Crowley. I will endure to the end. Apparently that was his fucking like magic name or whatever.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, I will endure to the end.
Oh, we should cover him.
We're definitely gonna cover Crowley.
That'd be nice.
Crowley and his poem about Jesus spitballing shit into his mouth.
That is fucked.
All right.
Well, when is the next episode going to be on?
Next episode, hopefully it comes out a week after this one.
All right.
If not, the week after. It depends on, because, you know, we're definitely not professionals yet, so we still have to do regular jobs.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Depending on how that week looks. I'm hoping to keep these coming week after week.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Be good.
Constantly coming out. But yeah, if it doesn't come out the week after, then yeah.
May or may not release part 1 and part 2 together.
That's right.
Decide on that later.
Mm-hmm, yeah, this one might come out pretty soon after the first one, depending on how I fucking feel. Fuck you. I do what I want.
Okay, it's gone long enough.
We've been rambling a long time.
All right, sorry about that, people. All right, we'll cut it off right now.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Hail
Blessed
Satan.
be. Good night, or good day, or whatever it is.
You know what? Hail yourself.
Hail yourself.
You get that promotion.
Fuck yeah.
You suck that dick.
Fuck it, why not? If you enjoy it, enjoy it. Goodbye, people. Have a good day, or good night.